Yes, it is Thursday night, and this is Tackle Shop Live. What up, Patrick Gangrene? You took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just Lane Graves is in the house. Robert Murray, how are you, buddy? Kirk Blackador, Tim McSee, Scott Luckoff, how you doing, pal? Jay Sandberg, good to see you, buddy. Jim Saban, what's happening, buddy? E-Stacks Fishing is here. Conway, what's up, Conway? Michael Bradley's here. How are you, Michael? Crappy Kev, as always. Elliot K3W. What up, buddy? Yeah, man. Pittsburgh, baby, all the way. Thomas Buckley. Marky, how are you, buddy? Robert Mills, Jeff Santangelo, Joe Cascarino. What's up, Joe? Man, oh man, we got all the players coming. Matthew Botner, how you doing, buddy? Mike Hayer, how are you, pal? Kevin Herr. What's up, man? Joe Hep's here. Shopey. Man, oh man, oh man. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another night of Tackle Shop Live on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Man, I tell you, we got some great listeners, Nick.
Absolutely.
And our buddy Mike Hayer came up or down, I guess, from where he's from the other day, him and his lovely wife. And they brought me some chili. And George some chili, and I got yours, and he brought you some chili too, Nick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I got yours in the freezer because I didn't want it to, go bad. But let me tell you something. I've been eating chili for the last 2 days.
Nice,
phenomenal. Now, everybody has the best chili recipe, right?
Oh yeah,
everybody does. And I've had a lot of different chilies. And I know that our listeners, you guys are chili fanatics. But this was probably the most different chili I've ever had that had all of the flavors that you would expect and then some. He said, "This is my favorite chili I'm giving you guys, and it's famous." And I was like, okay, well, everybody says that. But I'll tell you, Mike, I'm just going to tell you right now. I analyzed it. 3 different beans, 2 different meats, garlic, onions, celery. I saw some celery in there. And then the spices, of course, you have your regular chili, a little bit of chili spice, your cumin was in there. But then he had these, I think he had red peppers, green peppers, and then chili peppers. Like, I don't know what kind of chili pepper it was, but it was like a Pablo or something like that pepper. Wasn't spicy over the top.
Right.
Matter of fact, I like mine a lot more spicy, so I put some spice in there. But I don't know if I nailed everything, Mike. I'm not sure. But there was probably 1 or 2 other things. Maybe, I don't know. There's something else in there. I couldn't figure out what it was. But let me tell you something. The flavor profile on that was intense. It was awesome. I ate almost one whole of those things myself. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as hell. Thank you very much, Mike Hayer, for that. I appreciate it. I'm gonna say it right, Mike Hayer. But thank you very much. We appreciate that very much, and it was really nice seeing you and your lovely wife, and some great storytelling when you stopped in here. So that was great. Always good to have the customer, or the listeners, stop in and talk. And we get them in here every single day, and it's really cool to see that. So yeah, that's what's been going on. George and I went fishing this past Sunday, and didn't have a lot of time, but we ran up to the river and kind of started where we left off from the weekend prior, where we really struggled. We've been struggling, and we kind of expanded on that and tried some different things. And we were catching fish kind of the whole time, but not like catching them, like just one here, one there, really trying to put a pattern together. And the pattern just wasn't coming. It wasn't till the end of the day. And the short day it wasn't until the end of the day that we actually started patterning these fish now listen, Nick, we were catching fish,
right?
We were catching 12 inchers, 11 inchers, but we were after the 17s, the 18s, the 19s, we were after them big ones. And it was at the end of the day that we finally put something together there and needed to expand on that, but then had to leave, but really started to put this pattern together. And it took a while. It took every bit of 4 hours to really put it together. And it was fun when it finally clicked at the end, and I have the patented drop back maneuver, which you've heard all about, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, I started the patented drop back maneuver on them, and it was working. It was really working, and George started doing it, and it was like bam, 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 and they were all quality fish, and it was pretty cool.
That's when it's hard to leave.
It was like, we really didn't want to go, because the next expansion on that was going to the Wacky Rig Senko. And what I was doing was I was fishing a swim bait, a reaction innovation little dipper, and George, with the wind the way it was, we were actually positioning the boat above the ledge, throwing down over the ledge, bringing it up to it, and just swimming it up over top. And the little ones would come up and smash it. So I started to bring it up to the edge of the ledge and then drop it back into the back of the ledge and drop it right down into their faces. And they were nosed right up to the ledge. I mean, they were, the ledge was here, and they could have been on the front side or the back side. You just got to figure out where they were. Well, this time they were on the back side, and they were nosed right up against it. So you had to drop it right in their face because their strike zone was this big. They weren't feeding.
Right.
So the strike zone was like this. So you had to almost, cast, bam, cast, bam, and you would hit one. And it was cool because there was a lot of little short ledges in that area. We had a southwest wind blowing. It was hard to control the boat, but there was enough flow that we could spot lock on those, fish a spot, move over a little bit, fish a little bit, move over a little bit, and put it together. But another thing I noticed about those fish was their mouths were like almost raw, like they were beating up the bottom for crayfish. They were more geared for crayfish than they were a bait fish. And I noticed that right away with the first fish I caught, and then the second fish I caught, which was pretty much right after that one. And then the third, George caught one, and then I caught another one, and they were all really beat up. So I guess dropping it back was kind of right in their face where they were digging it for crawfish, or, how they get when they're nosing down in the rocks and grinding. So the next step would have logically been the Wacky Rig Senko, because we had the same exact situation last year, almost the same exact time of year. And when we went to the Wacky Rig Senko, we started smashing them. I mean, giants. And we loaded the boat up with them. And you had to drop it right behind the ledge. And I think actually that particular trip, they were in front of the ledge, Nick, at the base of the front of the ledge. And you had to drift it right into them. You know what I mean? And it had to be on the bottom, and it had to be drifting right into them. But they would smash it. And we ended up with a phenomenal day that day, but it took 3 hours, 4 hours to figure it out. And this was the same thing. If we would have fished a full day, we would have had another 2.5 hours. And I think that we would have
put it together.
We would have really smashed them. I think we would have really had them. Of course, I'm just saying that, but I mean, that's what the pattern was. It really was. So, but I thought the day was a win because we didn't give up. We didn't just keep doing what we were doing. We kept moving, changing, switching, and then the patented drop back maneuver happened, and the rest is history. So there you have it. But it was a good time. It was always a good time on the water. Everybody's asking me, "Oh, so any day on the water is a good day." Well, number one is I like to catch them. I like smashing fish. I like I like just ripping lips.
Setting hooks.
Number one, right? We're out there to catch them and rip their lips. Number two is hanging out with your buddies in the boat. You know, whoever you're fishing with, that's number two. And number three is all the nature, the birds and the eagles and the weather and all that kind of stuff. In my mind, I'm out there to smash them, Nick. Huh? You tell me.
No, you're right.
Nah, you tell me.
Right.
You tell me if I'm wrong.
And you know what's funny is when you get a bite, like, because your brain tells you, I just want to get a bite.
Yeah.
But when you get that bite, you just can't wait to get the next bite.
You want to get another one.
You can't help it.
You can't help it.
No.
That freaking boom, that tick, the thud, whatever you want to call it.
So good.
And then jacking on that fish and that rod bowing over, man.
Right.
It's just, there's nothing like it.
Nothing.
We all live for that. I think that's the adrenaline that you get out of it. And then, you know, everything else is a bonus.
Everything. You know, what's funny though, I was coming home from Raystown on Monday night, and I'm coming along the river, and the hatch is all over my truck.
Oh yeah.
From the river.
Oh yeah.
Has that been playing, like, as far as?
So George and I, we get there in the morning and they're sipping bugs off the surface. I mean, like all over the place. And we were in a area where we should have really caught them. And of course I break out the Don Iovino splash it with the feather treble tail. And I do the plink plink and then just let it go, you know, and then the plink plink and just let it go. And I always catch them. I didn't catch them. I didn't even get a rise. I didn't even get a sniffer. I got nothing. They were jumping over top of my lure, like beside it and stuff. It was pretty frustrating, but there was a pretty large hatch happening, like as you saw, Nick, in your windshield and everything else. It destroys your truck. George has to drive up along the river every night on the way home, and his truck is trashed, man. But it's just funny that we just couldn't get that going. They weren't biting, they weren't doing anything, and they it was very frustrating. It was very frustrating, and we ran that for a little bit. We did gravel bars, we did flats, we did all kinds of stuff. You know, we tried all kinds of different structure, eelgrass, milfoil grass. There's some milfoil there. There was a lot of eelgrass. We fished that. Normally you can get them out of the eelgrass, but we couldn't even get them out of the eelgrass. My beloved fluke wasn't working. That was frustrating. But we kept working through it, and then you pop a nice one. You know, you catch a big one on a spinnerbait, and then you'd throw that for a while, and then you'd pick a crankbait up, and the third cast you'd catch a nice one. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna crankbait, so I'm cranking, changing colors, you know, doing all this stuff with the crankbait, different wobbles, you know, and then it's like, okay, and then you pick something else up and you pop a nice one. And it was like that, and
that makes you think, okay, I'm on them now.
Yeah,
and then you don't get another bite with that lure.
Yeah. So, but as fishermen, we are. And you are too, Nick. You're a pattern fisherman, and a pattern is when you catch one or two or three on the same type of structure, or the same type of cover or structure or lure, fish the same way, kind of on the same kind of stuff. Then you start establishing your pattern, and then you go and you refine the pattern within the pattern. And it was all the way toward the end of the day that we finally established that boom, 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 you know, and then, that was the pattern, figured that out. And then it was going to refine it to the, and one of my things I would have done was my wacky rig Senko and went from there. So, but a lot of fun. Of course I get to fish with George, which is a lot of fun. We had a ball, and
aren't you happy I put you on all them fish?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. You know what happened? He actually broke off or something, and he was retying, and his boat was in perfect position for that type of cast. You know, he put me on him though. He did, but we worked for him, didn't we, bro?
Of course.
Yeah, we didn't give up. We were hooting and hollering and having a good time. So anyway, it's good to see everybody here, and it's good to have everybody stopping in. And my name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord, and behind the camera is cameraman Nick. For everybody stopping in, we appreciate you very much. We do Tackle Shop Live every night, or every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So We talk tackle, we talk fishing, and then we talk some technique talk, and we have little conversations like we just have, and hopefully that stuff helps you with your fishing. Gives you a little boost, a little knowledge nugget that you can stack away in your brain and pull it out when you're fishing. Because we've learned it all ourselves, and we've fished with some great people that taught us great things, and we just love to pass it along. So that's what this show's all about.
Well, and Mike, in saying that, everybody listening right now, do us a solid and yourself and your fishing friends a solid, and share this post. Share so other people can see it.
Absolutely. I mean, we're always after, we want the biggest audience ever, because we just love it, and we love the feedback we get from it. And we have a lot of stuff that we like to spread out. We love to talk about all this cool stuff we've learned over the years with all the great fishermen that we've fished with, and the stuff we learned and we honed over the millions of hours of fishing that we've done. And so, like and share, tell your friends, get them on board, every Thursday night at 7:00. And it's a lot of fun.
Hey, Mike. So I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the river.
Yep.
And, the river, I don't obviously have the experience on the river. I get to go with you guys and stuff. But, a lot of these bodies of water that I'm fishing are changing, whether it's cover, whether it's the way the fish are setting up and pattern. Are you seeing that on the river? Yep. Is it different, or what are you seeing?
I think every year, Nick, is different. Every year there's something that changed, or there's something that's better than the year before. That's totally different, but it's the deal. Last year we had we just had a different feel in the water. Everything was different. The fish were more stacked up in a totally different area. And this year, we've had days. We've had great days, but it's been a really weird year. I think the 3 or 4 areas that we fished, which is a lot of water, some of them were better than others, but it was just a different year. It was a different. Some of the baits that you would expect to catch fish on are not working. They're just not. I mean, they just haven't had a good run on them. I don't know if that's what you're seeing, but.
Well, yeah, I am. And that's what I was kind of alluding to. Like, I'm up at Raystown, and, you guys fished at a lot.
Yeah.
And I fished it a lot, and it's just changing all the time.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the spots that you fished years ago are just not even relevant anymore.
Right.
And it's tough to stay up with those fish because, whether it's fishing pressure, whether it's just bait related, I don't know. It seems to be really changing what you got to dial into.
Well, I can guarantee you it's bait related for sure. And we're seeing the same thing on the river. The bait's different. We're not finding those big wads of bait like we did last year. There's a lot of small little flecky stuff out there that I don't think the fish are really keying in on yet. That when you bring your spinnerbait through the water, you see these little things jumping out of the water, but they're only, they're just microscopic little suckers, And I don't think the fish are really keying in on them other than the little ones. The little ones will eat them up, But I think that's why those big fish were all smashed up and dug up with marks on their faces, because they were just getting a better meal of crayfish right now than they are bait fish, because it's just not balled up like it was last year. Last year, the bait fish was really balled up, and you could once you found a bait fish, I mean, there was fish everywhere, but it just didn't happen. And for your point on Raystown Lake, it's the same thing. Those shad are constantly moving, and because you don't have the same structure cover that you had up there for years and years and years,
right?
There's nothing there to really hold the fish. So now there probably is, but we have to figure out what that is. Is it a ledge? Is it rock piles? Is it the tops of the timber? Is it more bluff wall fishing now? What is it? That's holding those fish. I know last year the success we had at Raystown went to laydowns, old school stuff.
Yeah, old school
flipping laydowns, and that was the only way we could get bit. And a lot of guys had great success doing that, because there was just the cover changed so much, So that that holds true no matter where you go in the world, in the country. Things change and weather patterns change, and then you have that kind of stuff. So what do you think, George?
I think the biggest thing that I've observed in my travels this spring has been how much behind the times, behind the season, everything is. I feel like we're just catching up to summer now. And prior to this, everything was, 2-3 weeks behind. And now we're catching up to a true summer pattern in a lot of the country. Obviously, the Northeast is still in spawn season, but most of the country's now in a summer pattern. But it took a long time to get here. So, the thing is, you gotta remember, every year is different. Especially on river systems, tidal rivers, natural flowing rivers, especially where grass is involved. And I'm not talking about grass that's manipulated by man, by spraying, eradicating. I'm talking about just the natural, for whatever reason. I mean, you can have your theories. We're not biologists. But for whatever reason, some of it's obvious, like you have flooding in your spring season, and it just stays that way. Like we've seen that already, where we've had like just tremendous rainfall. The sunlight doesn't penetrate the water because everything's mud, and obviously the grass doesn't start growing for that reason. But other mysterious things are when you have prolific grass beds and then the next year they're not there. We all have, it was a harsh winter. And then the next guy's like, well, harsh winters are great for grass because the ice. Okay. I'm good with one or two, but the fact remains that especially on rivers and especially on tidal rivers, tidal systems, it's not uncommon for radical grass changes. Like, and when I say movement, I don't mean the grass moves. Kind of does, but I mean it doesn't grow where it was, and it grows somewhere else.
Yeah,
which changes everything. The other thing with tidal rivers, and we just saw this on the Pascatank with the Bass Elite, is the salt line. When you don't have fresh water pushing down, that allows salt to creep up. So, weird things start happening.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing saltwater species in your bass waters. You start catching, in the summer months, you start catching puppy drum and flounder and speckled trout where you're bass fishing. You see, in some cases, you see porpoises, flippers on the loose, hunting.
Yeah.
So, when that salt moves up, we spent a lot of time fishing the Chesapeake Bay and that's a massive system. Can't tell you how many times over the years we pulled into a mouth of a creek on an outgoing tide, and they're breaking like crazy, but they don't look like bass. And then you throw your prized popper in there, and it's a bluefish. It's 10 inches long or 12 inches long. And it just takes you a minute to recalibrate your whole brain as to why you're catching bluefish in your bass creek.
Remember that year, Nick, they were catching the crabs up in the Susquehanna River?
Oh, yeah.
Like bushels of crabs up in the Susquehanna River. That was a terrible drought year that year.
Well, and that's what we saw in the Pascatank, last week. We saw, what would have been a main river fishery in a lot of cases the fishing was in the creeks of the rivers. Now there's a lot of space there. It's a big area, and the rivers that these guys were fishing, the Pascatank River and the Chowan River and the Roanoke River and all the other rivers, they got all kinds of creeks coming off of them.
Mm-hmm.
So in a lot of cases, they weren't fishing the bottom half of the river. Now they were going up the creeks because the salt hadn't pushed up in there yet. A little bit of salt is a good thing.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Too much salt moves the fish. So, we're seeing that. So you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Now, you get your bodies of water that are manipulated by man, that's the gloves come off. That's a whole different animal there. Now you're coming in with a normal situation and you're destroying habitat and destroying a fishery. And that's obvious why we're having situations there. But that's my read on 2026. As far as like
so far.
Yeah. And what I feel, Mike, is, we're now, most of the country is in a summer pattern.
Yeah.
Most of the country is well into a summer pattern.
Yeah.
We are just getting into a summer pattern here, and the Northeast has yet to get there. They're still in a spawn pattern.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Bass Open on the Mississippi River today.
Yeah, and they're up pretty far north.
Well, they're in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure bass have spawned there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's bass spawning there now. They're probably hitting a little bit of a post-spawn funk, because I'm sure that on the last moon they had a pretty good spawn.
Yeah.
But I'll guarantee you on the next full moon they're going to have a big spawn. That's just because
some of them are catching spawning fish too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if they would have been there, if this tournament would have been
a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier,
a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, that first week of June, the end of May, we had a big spawn cycle.
Yeah.
And I really think this tournament's fishing a little funky.
Yeah.
And I really think that those are fish that are coming off of that last spawn.
Yeah.
And I really think that when you start hearing these more experienced anglers talk about it, they're going to be talking about bedding fish. They're going to be talking about fry garters.
Oh, yeah.
But then you got the guy in first place. And you know what he's going to be talking about? A swim jig. First place, day one, Bass Open, Tom Mansour.
What?
He's having a hell of a year.
Man.
19.6.
Wow.
Which is a big bag on that river. And for those of you who haven't paid attention to young Tom Mansour, he's only 77. He forgot more about the Mississippi than anybody else will ever learn.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Back in May, he won the Bass Nation qualifier there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In a fish-off, a sudden death fish-off.
Ah.
They were tied at the final weigh-in. Him and second place were tied.
Wow.
And, now think about this. Tom Mansour is 77.
And they got to go back out and fish.
He just finished fishing a 3-day tournament.
Yeah.
And
he's got to go back out.
Now he's got to go back out.
And what do they do? A full day or just a
first keeper?
Oh, first keeper.
And a lot of people would assume that would be a disadvantage, but the guy that finished second, he made a run to get to the fish he was catching.
Yeah.
And Tom went to like the first bridge.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
And he caught one on a swim jig. He catches everything on a swim jig.
Yeah.
He's a master of he kind of taught us how to swim jig fish.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he invented the swim jig, but I'm going to say that Tom Mansour invented the swim jig.
Yeah.
And he taught us. I know when you and I were learning the swim jig back in the day, we were echoing and emulating Tom Mansour. Whatever he did, we did.
Yeah.
We always were trying to find pictures of his swim jig and what kind of trailer he was using, and
just an awesome dude, man.
what kind of tackle.
Yeah.
How was he fishing it?
Yeah.
What was the retrieve?
Yeah.
So he's in first place with 19.6, and second place, I'm not sure. Third place is a great friend of SFT, Alex Weatherall.
Wow.
And he's in third place with 17.6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's in the hunt. And then the 10th place cut is 15.4. Now, they don't cut to 10 in the opens until I think the final day.
Yeah.
They go full field, and then the final day they go to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But our man, Gray Buck, is in 36th in striking distance with 13.5, which is, a pretty typical limit on the Mississippi River. It's absolutely, we've been talking about it as a bucket list destination forever.
Yeah.
You always see the frogging and the flipping and, all the tournaments we watched
Yeah.
frogging and flipping. And Alex Davis last year almost won that Bass Pro Tour up there. Frogging, just straight up frogging.
Yep.
And
what would you like say you're going in a day two and you saw who the leader was? Would you be tying on a swim jig?
No, because it would already been tied on.
Well,
I wouldn't even
if you weren't throwing it.
I wouldn't even go to the Mississippi River without a swim jig tied on.
Yeah. I tie one on.
I mean, I wouldn't even go there with that one tied on. After all the studying and learning that we did with Tom Mansour, there is no way in hell that here's my miss. I've never been there to La Crosse, okay? But I watched about 1 million tournaments. I read about 1 million articles, and here's my starting lineup for La Crosse in the late summer, mid to late summer.
Yeah.
Early fall. My lineup is going to be real simple.
Yeah.
Frog.
Yeah.
Swim jig.
Yeah.
Flip bait.
Yeah.
Probably a beaver or a crawl. Creature style bait, I should say. In that covers a lot of baits. Those three for sure. Number 4, because you and I being river rats, we know in the summer how shallow those fish get and how they love bars.
Yeah.
I mean, we love bars too, but I'm talking about sandbars. And so
I don't know though.
I'm going to be slinging a rig.
Yeah.
Number 4 is my rig. And then my 5th and final, I'm sorry, but you got to have, when you're on them wing dams and them bars and open water, you got to have a topwater. That's my Mississippi La Crosse summer to early fall starting lineup.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like there's got to be a big spawn of largemouth going on up there somewhere
right now.
Yeah.
Well,
it got to be a big spawn of largemouth, something that you could.
Do you believe that the largemouth spawn is driven by moon phase? I do.
I mean,
I think there's fish spawning every day.
Yeah.
But the real wave.
Yeah, I know, but
that Florida wave.
The spawning areas, would be loaded up, I think, pretty big. And whether you're fishing for a spawning bedded fish or you're in that spawning area there, I just is that what they're catching? Mostly largemouth? What about the smallmouth?
They're catching both.
They're catching both, yeah, because there's pretty big smallmouth up there. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. It'd be hard for me to get out of them back bays, those back waters, all those backwaters they have up there. I'd be in there, man, just dragging and
the other thing is, keep in mind, fellas, it's a river, so the river stage matters.
Yeah. Is it low?
From what I saw, it looks low.
Yeah. And that place is terrible when it's low.
Well,
Terrible to run.
you know,
Absolutely terrible.
when it's low, if you're catching post-spawn fish, they're going to be on the river.
Yeah.
They're going to be on the river, and they're going to be on current.
Yeah.
They're going to be on current. They're going to neck down bottlenecks. So two things, Nick, when it comes to finding current in a river, a bottleneck, but you can also get a bottleneck by making the water shallow all of a sudden. So that big, long, slow stretch comes into a big, shallow bar and gets squeezed, and it accelerates. Those fish are looking for that. A post spawn.
Is the whole river system open, or are they in an area?
They usually have 3 pools. They launch in La Crosse, and they usually can go up one and down one. Now, that's a great question. These are open anglers. These guys will push it to the absolute max.
Right.
Yeah. Run all the way up to the borderline.
I'm sure
wasn't that Palanick that ran over into the wrong state?
Well, he called a fish. He would have won that tournament.
Yeah.
That tournament would have done a lot for him. He called a fish in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And like
you're not allowed to
half
do that.
his boat was in Wisconsin.
No way.
Yeah.
And he looked at his GPS and he self-reported. And he had to throw that fish back. And I believe he took a penalty.
Yeah.
That was back when he was cranking them. And he was catching them on a crankbait that's not even made anymore, the Storm Arashi.
So what if he would have caught that fish in Michigan and then just drifted back into?
Well, if he had caught it in Michigan, he would have had to have a massive fuel tank.
No, I mean in Wisconsin and then drifted back across that line. Could you call then? Is that legal?
Wow.
That was the problem.
That's probably legal.
Yeah, that was the problem. That was like
crazy.
Yeah, you have to think about all that stuff when you're fishing on them borders.
So George, 19 pounds is winning.
19.6.
What's 10th?
15.4.
That's pretty good.
That's tight.
Yeah, it's tight.
That's tight.
That's this when you get down in the 20s to the like 40, it's just ounces. You know, from 20 to 40 pounds is like 3/4 of the field. Well, grazing a tie, you know, it's like 13.5, 13.4, 13.3, but it's like more like 13.3, 13.3, 13.3, 13.2. You know what I mean? They're stacked. So this is where you better be good at calling.
Yep.
Efficient and accurate. You know.
Yeah.
You need the Bubba scale.
Something of which I'm not, Nick. I'm not any good at calling.
All right, I got to ask you a question about calling. Are you guys of the belief that you catch your 5 fish first, then start calling, or are you calling while you're catching?
Well, I don't think you meant to word that way.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean, but I don't normally call before I get my limit.
Are you weighing them?
I'll tell you what I have done already. I have thrown back my first 3 keepers on a Lake Erie tournament.
Really?
And they were all over 3 pounds.
From confidence or
because I knew I was going to catch like 80 more.
Nice.
And I also knew that fizzing.
Yeah, you weren't doing it.
And then culling. They're violent, man.
They're very
violent.
violent.
I had one, my dad, actually. I had him running the scale. He pulled one out of the live well, and I made him sit in the bottom of the boat. Like, not even in a seat. Like, get in the middle of the boat and sit down on the floor to cull him. And he pulled one out of the live well, and I'm up there fishing. And I hear this, son of a bitch. And I look back, and I'm like, what's the matter? He goes, I mean, these fish were crazy. They were absolutely insane. The fish shook his head so violently that he ripped the scale out of my dad's hand and threw it into the lake, and it sank.
Oh no!
It was a at the time it was like the scale, and it was like $150. Yeah. So the rest of that tournament was done with the beam,
the balance beam.
But yeah, I'm like, If I know I'm catching a bunch of fish, I have a system.
Well, that's not the question. The question is, once you get your limit,
Yeah.
are you talking a buddy tournament?
I'm saying whether it's a buddy tournament or individually, are you weighing them while you catch them, or are you waiting till you have
yeah. I feel like no matter what, you should weigh them and peg them
as you catch them.
Because that otherwise you got to stop and then dig them all out. I think the time frame is longer. Don't you?
It's a great debate because I usually weigh them as I catch them.
Yeah.
Now I've been with a partner, Dad, who likes to just
throw them all in there.
We'll get them then. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those deals.
Yeah.
It depends how fast you're catching them. But what I like to do is, like, if it's going to be an average day of fishing, it's not going to be anything crazy. I don't weigh them. So what I do is if the first fish is kind of small, I put a tag on it. And then I used to remember it, but now I actually write it down. I'll put down like, okay, blue is my small fish. Now here's my process. Then my next fish, if it's smaller than that fish, I tag that. And I'll say, let's just say red. So blue 1 now becomes red 1, blue 2. And then if my next couple fish are decent, I don't tag them. But what I'm getting at is I already know my first 2 calls. First it's red, then it's blue. And I use a beam most of the time. I mean, I have a Bubba scale, but I'm a beam guy. I think it's faster. Now, when it gets down to like,
yeah,
then I get the Bubba scale out. But so I can usually, if you think about it, and I want to make my point here, I can usually get like 7 or 8 fish and do 3 calls before I have to even get like serious, right? That's my system.
What's your system, Mike?
Well, I mean, when I did it, when I call and I'm fishing an individual tournament, when I'm calling, if I'm fishing a buddy tournament, George takes care of all of it, so I never have to worry about that, or you take care of it, right? That's just the way it is because I suck at it.
Hey, Mike, take over the front.
Yeah.
How in the hell do you have this GPS?
I know, right? But so what I always did was I did like George did. I would pin the small fish and then work through that fish, and then I would stop and then have to weigh them all. But I I never really had a really good scale. It was never really, so we always did the balance beam, and I just sucked at it, man. I was just terrible at it. I'm just really terrible at it. And I know I threw fish back that I probably shouldn't have thrown back. And I was fishing with JT one time, and he's like, hey, call those fish. And I'm like, where's your scale? He said, no, the balance beam. And I'm balance beaming the fish, and the thing's tilting. And I took the fish that went up like this, and I damn near threw it into the water because I was all rattled from weighing all these fish. And
you're not built for this kind of work.
It's just not for me, man. I'm just
the catcher machine.
So now that we got the Bubba scale, I just feel like you weigh every single fish. The Bubba scale is great. It's so simple. You push the button, it tells you what to do. Even morons like me can do it.
It is.
It's a moron proof. It's a Mike proof freaking scale system.
It is.
It's Mike proof.
I mean, it's not that simple, but it is. It's pretty good.
It's pretty simple. You press the freaking button. Because George was getting confused with it. I'm like, no, man, this is what you do. You press the button and it tells you. And it starts flashing, and then you just go over and
see. Now, if you press the button when you're with Greg, he's don't press the button because it locks itself in.
No, I know that.
What's that mean?
So when you go to weigh, you can either manually press the button and lock in the weight.
Right.
But if you wait like 5 or 6 seconds, it actually locks its own weight in.
Yeah, it does. It does lock it. George and I always wait till
it puts it on the screen?
Yes. Yeah, George and I always wait. We always, because we do Bubba scale tournaments, and we go until it locks, then we turn it around, get the picture, and then we throw it in the water. Yep. That's how I got good with that scale, doing these Bubba scale tournaments. And it tells you, it just automatically calls for you.
It tells you which one to throw back.
It just automatically calls for you. It's so simple.
Which, by the way, sidebar, if you can get a group together for Bubba scale tournaments, it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Is it pressure because you know what people have?
Well, we use
it's pressure.
They now have an app. Bubba and Major League Fishing have now launched a app of live.
Yeah.
Bubba Scale Live.
We did it.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
They just launched it. But we use Tourney X.
Well, Tourney X, I don't know if we use Tourney X or Fishing Chaos or whatever it is. They have it for the Bubba Scale. So, and all you got to do is just enter that, whatever that weight is. So you have to manually enter it. I don't know if this thing will.
But it's a brand new app. They've been working on it for like a year.
That would be cool if it automatically enters it in there for you. But the pressure is immense. George and I are fishing, man.
I don't like to look.
And we're like, we're a pound and a half out, and then you get all nervous and stuff, and then
see, Mike has to look. I'm like, don't look.
I want to be that guy.
Well, I have to look because I have to put the fish in.
I always say don't put the fish in.
Yeah,
either.
but here's the thing. I want to be that guy in your boat, like Major League Fishing. It's like, hey, Mike and George, somebody else just caught one. Hey,
well,
Mike,
that's what their app does.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm telling you, it's nerve wracking, Nick.
My thing is,
you got to fish one of those with us. It's fun.
It sounds.
My thing is, don't upload the fish, and don't look. And then at the end of the day, with like 5 minutes to go, you got this giant sack of fish. Just drop them all on there.
Sandbagger.
Piss everybody in the whole field off. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we do small scale. Like, I mean, we might've had 10, 12, 13 boats. And
it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah. One of our good friends and a long time SFT pro staffer, Brian Setlock, who runs, him and his partner, Dave Kovac, run 2 tournament trails, very well attended.
Fine.
Very well run.
Really well run. Yeah.
High quality tournaments. And then on the side, Brian runs these
puts them together.
Puts these Bubba Scale tournaments together, and that's the Rivertarian team trail.
No, the guy asked what's a good bag on the Susquehanna River. We in the last 2 years that we've been doing it, we've had a 23-pound bag win. We've had multiple bags over 18 pounds win. So it's really all over the place.
That's 5 fish, right?
That's 5 fish. Yeah, it's 5 fish, and it's really all over the place. But when it's really good, it takes 20 plus pounds. It takes 20 plus pounds to win when you're like in the fall or the spring. The spring and the fall, it's going to take. George and I would often just do a Bubba Scale tournament with whoever showed up at the ramp, like our buddies, early in the year, like March, April, that time. And we would fish until 1, 2 o'clock. And then we'd meet back at the ramp and we'd show everybody, what you had on your scale. And then that's how we did it. You didn't know what they were catching. And there's been many times where it was 24 and change or 25. And what was yours? 25?
23 and a half.
Yeah, 23 and a half and 22. It wasn't 25, but it was like 23, 20, many times in the what I call the fat part of the year when these fish, you look like you could touch them and they're going to explode, because a fish that was 18 inches was damn near 4 pounds.
Well, your post spawn and summer river tournaments are quite different. But although we've had some 18-pound bags.
No, that's what I'm saying. Those 22 and 23-pound bags are 18s and 17s and 19s.
We've seen some 18. We've seen 18-pound bags weighed in June.
Yeah,
several times.
Yeah, so that's how special the river is. But so that's all cool stuff right there. All right, well, we kind of meandered on there, didn't we, Nick? Kind of went on.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We kind of went on a tangent.
Wrong with
we kind of went on a tangent, which was a lot of fun.
This is freestyle.
And but we're a tackle shop, and we love tackle, and we love playing with tackle.
Who doesn't?
And the other thing we like to do is talk tackle, and this is called Tackle Talk. George, we've been getting our butt kicked this year on tackle. And we've had a lot of tackle in the shop, and we're a shop that has a lot of tackle. We always stocked a ton of tackle. But man, we just had some moments with these companies that they didn't have it. It was gone. And but now we're getting fat again. We're starting to get fat again, and stuff's starting to roll again. And
there's a couple things going on in the tackle business that's a little different. First of all, up in the first quarter of the year, it was all good.
Oh yeah,
all good. We had lots of everything, and then we've had some. I don't know if you guys pay attention to anything that goes on in the world, but we've had some world issues here this year with political stuff, which we're not going to get into, and it's affecting the world markets, and it's affecting deliveries, and it's affecting decisions, purchasing decisions, and manufacturing decisions, and there's a lot of uncertainty. So therefore, in our little speck of the world, the last month and a half, 2 months have been in certain departments a little sketchy.
It was.
I mean, we were getting down on reels. We were getting down on rods. I mean, now you come in and see the down inventory, it's still pretty impressive. But this past week, we got pretty right. And looks like it's going to continue for a little while based upon the emails that I'm getting. But I don't think it's going to continue for the whole summer. And then, of course, the other side of the coin is just, another mega trend in bass fishing. The koike, the urchin, whatever you want to call it. We decided we're going to call them koikes because we go with the people that invented them.
Senkos, chatterbaits.
Yeah.
Go with those type of things. Yep.
And so, of course, we're talking about, if you're a bass fisherman and you're unaware of this trend, then you probably fish with night crawlers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you don't have a use for lures. This is the hottest trend in bass fishing, period, that we've seen in a long time. I'd say since chatterbait. I'd say the chatterbait was the last game changer of this magnitude. Prior to that, I would say it was probably a sweet beaver.
I like Bob Austin's name for it, Whisker Biscuit Lures.
Okay. So that's the other side of availability. And that stuff it is what it is. I mean, it's feast or famine. You either have a bunch of multiple brands or you don't have anything. And, it's just like waves. About once a week, we get a wave and then boom, they're gone, and so we are restocked with some Skinny Bear Shake 'em Ups. Now, this is kind of like, I'm going to say 6 colors. This is a green pumpkin oil, which I would say is like pretty much a true green pumpkin oil. It's got that little bit of brown tinge to it. Black, red, black, blue, and a lot of people, when these colors first came out, they didn't want anything to do with them. But now that you're seeing that these baits are being used as flipping baits, black, red, black, blue, flipping colors. When these baits first came out, there was a period of time when you could walk in the shop here and the koikes were piled high. the actual koikis, and they were $20 a piece, and nobody would buy them. They're like, "What the hell? I'm not spending 20. I don't have a scope." Well, if you only knew then what you know now. These are flipping baits to the max. Watermelon green pumpkin, which is kind of like a dark watermelon. Watermelon red. And I would say watermelon red, the red is very subtle.
Yeah. It's a lot like a green pumpkin.
It is.
It is.
And gizzard carp.
That's a nice color. That's like a pumpkin seed.
That's like a real, almost a scuppernong.
Yeah, scuppernong pumpkin seed. It's like you know what? It is actually like a perfect scuppernong.
Now, the situation is this. And we only did this. We only did this to get these things out there for you. This is about 1/3 of a shipment. And the rest of it will be here tomorrow. So this actually, we put this active live. And it's probably 100 pieces. Now, tomorrow, at some point during the day, the rest of this shipment will show up, depending on who the carrier is. I think it's UPS. So it's probably a midday thing. And that other half, which is more like 3/4, will go live. So, today, tonight, tomorrow, Saturday.
That's it.
Maybe some crumbs around Sunday. You can get your koiki on, and then with any luck at all, there's another wave hitting the end of next week, and then the actual koiki brand, which has been pushed back 3 times now on this delivery, is due in. So sit tight, grab what you can, hang on,
and fish them. It's the fishing season for us is in full freaking swing here for this style of fishing, and the stories that are coming back to us are just spectacular. And it has nothing to do it has nothing to do with forward facing sonar. Some of it does, but they're absolute spectacular catches.
I'll tell you, I was checking out, of course, the website for Bassmaster today, and they have some really good photographers that work for them. And I love to watch look at the pictures. And I can't even tell you, now they're on the Mississippi River, which is shallow water. I mean, there's some scoping, but there's also some not scoping. But it's a shallow water fishery. I can't tell you how many boats had some form of koiki laying on the front deck, which is probably everybody in the entire tournament.
Yeah, I mean, literally local guys that are just, and these are guys are just kind of second, third, fourth year fishing, gone out fishing and decided they were going to try to figure these things out. No forward facing sonar, just fishing over top of grass and fishing it like they were watching on TV around docks and grass beds and just fishing it, and had exceptional days like they never had before on those bodies of water. So, I mean, we're learning a lot about it. It's fun to mess with. George and I are messing with a lot of different rigs, and George has been talking with the manufacturers that are working harder than what we have to do on the rigs, and coming up with some really cool, unique ways to rig this stuff.
Stand by. July's going to be fun.
And some really cool stuff that makes things easier for us.
Well, yeah.
And
July's going to be fun. We have some really innovative rigging coming in July for these baits. And then we have another brand coming in August that looks absolutely spectacular. So stand by. Yep. We're going to ride this. We're going to ride this train together.
It's good. And honestly, George, this is something that's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I was talking to Greg. I think so was Nick. Were you on the same conversation? And I think Greg told us, he said his feelings were on the elite level, the tour level, that this is going to be like a major factor for 2 to 3 seasons. You know, in the local world, I think it's a major factor, like kind of like a chatterbait. Like,
Going to be around.
you know, the chatterbait is arguably as good today in certain circumstances as it ever was, and so will this bait be.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten into our Carolina rigging of it. I can't wait
Yeah.
to Carolina rig this thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be special. All right. So it's a story on your skinny bear, shake them up, stock update. And of course, we mentioned this week Shimano rod and reel stock, just to give you a heads up, because I know a lot of you were waiting for 2,500 and 3,000 Vanford, 2,500 and 3,000 Stratic. I know I've had several people looking for 2,500 Sustain, Ultegras, Sahara, Sedonas. They're all here. A bunch of rods are re-upped. Rod's looking good. So come on. Let's do it. Also Loomis. And then, of course, 2 weeks ago, we had a decent re-up on Daiwa. Although some of the Daiwa spinning reels are still not there, but they're coming. Okay. You know, I think we talked about this bait. Hold on one second.
Hey, Nick. You had a good time with it.
Oh yeah, I've caught fish on it. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, next week I'll be showing my rigging methods.
Oh, yeah.
I think we talked about this bait about a year ago. This bait has received a resurgence because of the BFS world. You know, the Karashi obviously dominates the BFS world, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And this bait came out last year at ICAST, and it had a little buzz, and then it kind of got quiet. Well, now we're getting into a lot of the part of the country is getting into BFS, Clearwater, small, fresh spawned bait fish in the form of gizzard shad or what have you. And this is a Jackal live darter. This is a small bait. This is it's heavy. It's 5/32 of an ounce, and it's only 2 inches. So, you know, essentially,
Looks like a minnow, doesn't it, Nick?
but the interesting thing about this bait sinks.
Yeah.
Faster than a Karashi sinks. But what's interesting about this bait is if you cast this bait out and you've got, you know, fish that are keying on small bait fish, or I think even insects, clear water scenarios, what have you. Not so much a spawn season thing, you know, summer into that tough early fall, you know, that September forbidden zone. But this bait right here, you bomb it. You can chuck this thing. I mean, it's dense. It shoots like a bullet when you cast it.
Mm-hmm.
And you fish it on light line, no more than 8. And you pop your rod like this. You don't have to crack it. You just reel, pop. This bait darts. I mean, darts. Like, you can get a violent dart out of this thing. It not necessarily walk the dog, but like it might dart and dart. It's kind of random. And it's got this cool little double hook on it, which is a light wire hook that's in a clip. So as soon as you set the hook on a fish, it breaks free.
Mm-hmm.
And goes into a swinging position, and then you just lock it back in. So check it out. Live Daughter. The colors are spectacular.
Really good looking stuff.
That's a Pearl Wagasaki right there. $17.99 for you BFS guys. And if you're not BFS, spinning rod. You don't have to be BFS to fish it on a spinning rod. It has a hook hanger right here also. You could put a split ring on there and hang a little treble and take this off if you didn't care for that. Options. That's Pearl Wagasaki. I just grabbed some random colors here that I thought were bad to the bone. This is called Super Clear Wagasaki. And it kind of reminds me of a ghost minnow almost. And then this, because you got to have some chrome. This is High Flash Silver Shad. So that one's opaque. Can't see through that one. You know what GDP says? Sunny chrome, cloudy bone. Here is matte magic pearl. So you have a matte pearl, a little bit of see-through.
That's all you, Nick. Matt Shad, baby.
Matte pearl, not matte shad.
Yeah, but looks like Matt Shad.
That looks way more pearl than matte shad.
Oh, for God's sakes.
This is brown crawl. You might be asking, why would you be flicking a brown crawl around for suspended fish? And that's probably a good question. But it's a clear, transparent type color with that pattern on the side. I like it. And then, of course, pinkback shad. This bait's called the Jackal Live Darter. And if you're a BFS type person or a spinning rod, you don't have to have, everybody that doesn't want to buy BFS rod and reel, but likes all the BFS baits, put them on a spinning rod. Okay, that's the original BFS.
Sure is.
If you are into getting a BFS rod, cool. You'll have fun with these. Jackal Live Darter, $17.99.
Nice.
I think when you get into the summer months, and not in all fisheries, but in a lot of fisheries, your water in a lot of instances gets really cleared out by vegetation, which filters. And early summer, you start getting your bait fish spawns. If you're a gizzard shad body of water, your shad have already spawned, and the little shad are out and about. Of course, the herring lakes. Those herring have already spawned. Now we have a bluegill spawn going on. We've had minnow spawns, bodies of water that don't have shad, but have various minnow species. We've had big minnow spawns. My point is, when you get into that post-spawn summer pattern, clear water, and you get those kind of challenging bites, like Mike and I have had the last couple Sundays, there's some merit to some of this stuff. Like I know for a fact, if we'd have had the proper light tackle with us on Sunday, we'd have caught those fish eating them bugs. Guaranteed. And this Live Darter would have been a player in that. So if that's your world, if that's what you are into, check it out. Everybody's always looking for a pretty, and this bait's pretty cool. You know, we like that as fishermen.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now, what I've been waiting to talk to you guys about for a couple weeks and just haven't been able to get it done. You know, last week Nick wasn't here. Couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't go into this next piece without Nick being here. So I put it off. The week before that, something wasn't ready. But, you know, this is like big jam for me right here. And, you know, I'm a winder. I like to wind things. Spinnerbaits, buzzbaits, chatterbaits, crankbaits, topwaters, jerk. I'm a winder. Well, we got a new buzzbait. And this is like, we should have had a drum roll. We should have had a drum roll.
It's over.
This
Missed
is, you know, I got no enthusiasm from
I love that thing.
From production. No, with the drum roll. I was expecting a drum roll.
Well, you didn't.
I know you don't even have the button labeled, so forget about that. But this is from...
I got a shot of hitting it.
You sure do. This is from one of our favorite companies in the industry. We have a bunch of favorites. But if we get down to our core group, these guys are in our core group. The Missile team is good people. They are devoted to their dealers. They are devoted to their product. I love the fact that they work with collaborations. I just think that these last couple years, them doing collaborations, and this is a collaboration with Brazzalo, who built the buzzbait that Pat Schlapper won the Mississippi River on last year. And that's just a big deal to me, you know? John Cruz going, you know what? I know what I want, and they make it. But I have some ideas. And, you know, you get a veteran tour pro and his team of primo fishermen, not to mention their reps. Their rep group is all hardcore guys. So this is exciting stuff. This is called the Buzzwagon. Okay, this is a Gamakatsu flip and punch hook. So they took a G finesse flip and punch hook, 3/0, perfect size. And that's what's cast in this bait. This is a flip and punch hook of the highest magnitude. Silky smooth. It's got the tournament grade finish on it. This is primo. And then you're like, well, where's the skirt? This is no skirt. This is a trailer buzzbait.
The toter.
It's a toter. It totes anything you want to tote.
You want.
And check this out. Look at that head design. I think he put the fins on there to make it look like a missile. Dropping bombs. And then we got the step down. So when this thing's running, it's going to be just a little bit, that hook's just going to sit a little bit lower in the water. That step down's proven technology. As a matter of fact, you can step down your current buzzbaits very easily. And we'll even show you that. It's got a amplifier here. Okay. Did you get a chance to look at this, Nick, up close and personal? I know you're a buzzbait guy.
I like the blade part.
I love it.
I really like the blade part.
Now, guys, I'm not even close to done breaking this thing down.
Yeah.
I've only touched on like
blade is
one,
so legendary.
2, 3, 4 details.
Yeah.
There's so much more. We're going to take a break.
Best parts yet to come.
Now look at this. This wire is 51 thousandths. When you get a big fish on a buzzbait, sometimes what happens is your line can slide up this R bend and it wants to bend it, which is no problem. You can retune it, no problem. But this is a 51 thousandths wire, okay?
Going to hold together nice over multiple fish catches.
And it's not, you don't want a light wire on, you might want a light wire on a spinnerbait. And you don't even want a really light wire on a spinnerbait. You might think you want a light wire on a spinnerbait. But if you want like a super light, like a 30 thousandths wire on a spinnerbait, you probably don't throw a spinnerbait much. This is a 51 thousandths wire. But look at this right here. See that little cone right there? It looks like a little chrome bullet weight. One of the worst things that happens to you when you're buzzbaiting is the moss gets on there and kills your buzzbait. You got to reel it in, pick the moss off, not the grass, the moss, the snot grass, the snot. And that's just inefficient.
Yeah, it's aggravating.
Aggravating. Now, I think the biggest feature here is the fact that this rivet is crimped. Now, we've talked about this quite a bit. If you look at that rivet, which is going to be hard to do. See it up there on the end?
Hold it still.
Up there on the end?
They got to hold it still so we can focus on it.
That has 2 crimps in it. So you took a man put that on there, bent that wire over, and took a side cutter and crimped that twice. Now, you go back here. We carry the best of the best. We have Boogerman. We have Hog Collar. We have War Eagle. We have
Picasso.
They're probably crimped. I'll be willing to bet money that they're crimped. We even have Greenfish Tackle. I'll be willing to bet everything but Picasso is not crimped because it hinders production. But if you want the best, you got to take the steps. This is a Ric Flair buzzbait. Okay? Woo! This is a Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, limo riding, jet plane flying, kiss stealing, son of a gun. It's got it all, including a crimp rivet. Okay, so that is the Buzzwagon. Now, the real question is, what do we put on there? Well, here's what we got. We're going to talk about Buzzbaits a little bit, the 3 of us here. We're going to go into a little bit of a Buzzbait discussion. We got a black blade. I'm putting a black trailer on there. We have a silver blade. I'm putting any color trailer on there I want. Sometimes I want a black on silver. Sometimes I want white on silver. Sometimes I want shad. We have a pink blade.
I like that, Nick.
Anodized pink.
Got a head knocker. You can
Tune it.
You can tune it in, tune it out, get as much knock as you want. Pretty nice.
We have a gold blade. My. So, let's talk about this. So one of the things that we've been talking about and doing forever is taking the skirts off of our buzzbaits, right? So we have, this is for demonstration purposes only. This is how many buzzbaits I like to carry with me on any given day of fishing, okay? Got all kinds, shapes, sizes, skirts, no skirts, little, big, massive. Look at a blade on that. You can run a farm equipment with that blade. So you got a lot of buzzbaits, right? So one of the things we've been doing for years is taking our favorite buzzbaits and putting a toad on them. Well, now we have a primo product made specifically to do that. And look at that. If you put that toad on there, look where that hook comes out. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. White on silver.
No, Joe, it comes 5/16 of an ounce with that blade.
That's all you need.
That's what you get.
That's all you need. You don't need anything else. Now check this out. What's the advantage of putting a toad on a buzzbait? Okay. I think you get a pretty good hookup. But one of the things that really is cool about this, anybody can skip this. This skips effortlessly. You don't even have to be good at skipping. This skips that good. Okay.
It helps plane too, real easy. You can slow your retrieve down real nice.
Plane's out real good. You're getting the kick. You're getting the kick of the toad.
You're getting the bubble trail from the blade. You're getting the kick from a toad. Getting the bubble trail from a toad, but it planes real nice. You can slow down a little bit. That's what I like about them. It's got a great profile. You know, it's got that great shaddy kind of profile, beautiful wide profile to it, and a lot of action.
How about a bubblegum fluke? Pink fluke. I got that on there a little crooked. My bad. My bad. Pink fluke on a pink blade. Now, I've told you all the story about the fluke as a trailer. I was on a awesome buzzbait blow up. I wasn't on a good buzzbait bite, but I was on an awesome buzzbait blow up. I was constantly getting blown up, and I couldn't catch any of them. And one of them was a smallmouth, ripped the skirt off my buzzbait, and laying on the floor of the boat was a fluke. Picked it up, put it on, and destroyed them. So that kind of fired me up a little bit. And since that day on, I've thrown a fluke as a trailer on a buzzbait quite a bit. Also, swim bait. Little Dipper. You can get all kinds of creative with that. Bubble gum, morning dawn, black. .8 Kitech.
George, so we talk a lot about trailers, you know, with, I don't know, chatterbaits and swim jigs and you name it. How important to you is the color on this particular deal?
So what I've learned about buzzbait fishing, and it kind of follows suit with a lot of topwater fishing in around vegetation, is most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, if you're fishing around grass and it's ample, it's milfoil, it's hydrilla, it's mature, you know, it's a summer pattern, post-spawn summer pattern. I find a black buzzbait works very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, none of this is set in stone. Now, I know Mike, a lot of times, he's a buzzbait guy. A lot of times, if we getting some blow-ups and they're not eating, he goes right to white silver.
I do. I fish a lot of white. Like I know George is a big black guy. He does that, but I don't know if I'd go to shady colors, Nick, more so, than black. I know tidal water, I probably throw more black than I do in other situations. But I don't think we get to the point where we throw enough chartreuse. Chartreuse and white.
That's a great combination.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think we get to that point enough. We do it, but we don't do it enough. And the other thing I like about this toad thing is all the different colors you can just rig on and just take them on and off and just keep rotating just on the fly. Really easy. You don't have to change, you don't have to go looking for a buzzbait and then, have a skirt that you have to figure out. You can go to all kinds of cool colors. George. Yeah. Look at that.
That's sweet.
Well, the other thing is, you can have your white toad on and dip the legs in chartreuse, spike it.
Yeah.
I remember a tournament on the Nanacoke River many years ago where a black skirt, this was before we put toads on buzzbaits, a black skirt with chartreuse tips. So it was like this much black and this much chartreuse was undeniable. You can talk about it all you want. And you could say black would work just as good, but it didn't.
Yeah,
you can quickly adjust your colors.
Well, that's what I like about it. You can bounce around all the different, because we all got a million different baits in our boat. Especially toads. I mean, what's to say you can't put a ribbon on the back of that thing with the paddles? Somebody was saying about the uni Zoom uni toad. That thing is phenomenal for that too. But all the
Mr. Cruz likes this.
Oh yeah, all the colors.
This is a spunk shad.
Just allows you to throw colors that you don't find in buzzbaits, and that's what I like about a toader.
That's a great bait, George.
Yeah, chatterbait trailer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now it's a buzzbait trailer.
Just some great
but remember,
ideas.
You can skip these really well. So, great. Really excited product for us.
George, when you were breaking that down, there was a part that you hit. You call it the amplifier. For those that are listening and viewing, what is the idea behind the amplifier? Well,
sometimes and a lot of times when you're throwing a buzzbait, you want that knocking sound, as opposed to, you want that squeal. You're going to tune that. We're going to spin this blade out a car window in front of a fan. We're going to get that thing squealing real good. But when you make that cast out there, especially if there's a little bit of wind, it's a little gray out. That's what I do. Early morning, a little gray out, a little bit of wind, a little bit of movement on the water, breaking up that surface. I tune my buzzbaits because I fish almost every buzzbait I fish is a knocker. I fish a Boogerman buzzbait a lot, where the blade hits the head. I got this massive pile of buzzbaits here. This buzzbait here has seen better days. Now this is like, I don't know what that is. Some kind of hard, almost looks like stainless clamped on there. And it's clamped. Now keep in mind when you're tuning this, the drag of the water is going to bend it down. So you might have it just nicking here. But that out there on the end of that cast, you want to hear that knocking. And this thing this checks off all the boxes. So pretty excited. It's the perfect all-around weight. It's the perfect blade size. It's got unlimited options. It's only 4 colors. I mean, you can literally buy each of these colors and just go hog wild. You could match any hatch. Plus, it skips real good. It's really bread and butter with a toad. Any toad. You could go ribbit.
Yeah.
You can go
really
whatever.
Any of them.
As a matter of fact,
there's a million of them out there.
With a little bit of work, it would take a little bit of tug of war. You could put that Z-Man toad on there. You better like it, though, because it stay on all year long.
Yeah.
You can get a whole year out of one toad.
That'd be nice for that.
Be great. Take a little bit of pulling and tugging.
You have to work on it.
But it would get up there. You know, what you do with that stuff is you start it.
Well, it's a unique head, and that's what I like about it. It's made for rigging all different types of stuff, so it's tapered very nicely, and it does hold. It will split out certain things. You got to be careful with it, and I would say like smelly jelly or something while you're rigging it on some of your thinner diameter stuff, so it slides a little nicer and doesn't rip that front nose, because we rigged up several stuff just dry here, just messing around with it, and it will rip that out. So like a little smelly jelly or a little of your favorite fish attractant on there, just it'll slide up a lot nicer. I would recommend that for sure. But man, that's a legit deal right there, Nick. It's legit.
And it's a legit time to be throwing it.
Right now, man. I always said the first top water bites, like that first 2-3 weeks of top water, is the best top water fishing.
Oh, yeah.
They're just finally went from this to like all of a sudden they go, and then it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, they're looking up.
And then they just annihilate everything on the surface. They eat everything. Frogs, birds, toads, what you name it. They're eating everything.
They're on.
And bugs. They're all summer long. You're seeing them jump out of the water eating bugs. But once they really dial into that upper portion of the water column, man, look out.
Well, what I like too about the Buzzbait is you can cover a lot of water.
Tons of water.
I like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I throw it a lot in my tidal water largemouth fishing during the spawn. When that tide comes up, that's a low percentage time. And with a Buzzbait, I can actually do a little recon. I can move around and, purposefully. Again, we have a tendency, Mike and I are terrible at it. We have a tendency of fishing way too slow. But as that tide comes up and it gets past that sweet spot and the bites start to slow down, then my mind goes Buzzbait. And, as long as it's not too choppy out, I pick that Buzzbait up and I start looking. I love a 360 when I can't see grass.
Right. And
I get locked into my 360. And, I always have my graph on, my plotter on, and I'm putting down a trail. And anything real special, I put a waypoint on. Catch a nice fish, put a waypoint. Find something real special in that grass, put a waypoint. And that Buzzbait does two things. It lets me feel productive. But when I get a bite, it's usually a keeper.
It's the right one.
A good keeper.
Yeah.
Not a keeper.
Yep.
A good keeper. And that's like what I would call spawn.
Right.
Now, post spawn and summer, to me, a Buzzbait is spectacular for both smallmouth and largemouth, rivers, lakes, tidal water situations, you name it. And, in team tournament situation, depending on how the stage is set, what Mike and I are doing, especially in tidal water, a lot of times in a team tournament, if one of us is putting good fish in the boat, the other guy's throwing a Buzzbait, and all he's interested in doing is getting that 1 or 2 bites, because they're going to be the right ones.
Right.
you're going to get a dink here and there, but typically speaking, they're going to be the right. It's kind of like a frog. It might not be the best frog day, but when you get bit, now if you're fishing for numbers, no. If you're fishing to beat your buddy, maybe not. But if you're fishing a team tournament, and your partner's catching fish, you could do a lot worse than wear a buzzbait out. Okay. But I think it's important with your new buzzbaits. And again, they did a great job with this, but this buzzbait still needs to be broken in, and we've gone over this many times, but one of the things that I like to do involves a file. And I'll just take a file, and I like a coarse file. Okay. And I like to get back in here where the back of the blade contacts the rivet, the head of the rivet. Now, normally what I do is I bend this back of this blade. If you put them together, you'll see that it only barely makes contact like 25%. So normally what I'll do is I'll take my pliers and I'll just bend that arm, that rivet, that blade arm just a little bit. Now look at that contact. That contact's 90%. So it's more surface area. Okay. Then I take my file and I get in there and I rough up that wire. Okay. That wire is going to get the treatment. I'm going to scratch it up. This is just kind of hastening the process. At the same time, I'm kind of scratching up the head of that rivet. That freaking hook is sticking me. Bad. All for the show. All for you guys. This is what it's all about. Taking a 3/0 Gamakatsu flipping hook to the hand for production. Get that all roughed up. Then I'm going to ride down the road, and I'm going to hold this out my car window on my way home tonight. And I'm just going to spin the hell out of that thing. We're going to go anywhere from 25 to 55 miles an hour together. And I'm going to fly them out the window like this, and we're going to make big plans for the weekend. And we're going to let them beat on that knocker, get that blade scuffed up. And now she's ready. You want that sound. You want that. I probably got some good broken in ones here. Hear that squeal on the back end? That's, I mean, that one's got all the paint ate off the head of it. This thing's crimped. You want that squeal. That we call it the screen door. Going into your grandma's porch when you were a kid with the screen door. That's what you want. So we're going to tune that buzzbait. Now, I'm curious from you guys. I'm going to start with you, Nick. I know you're quite the rod mechanic.
Try.
What's your setup for buzzbaiting?
See, I prefer a 7'1" medium heavy. That's what I like, because that's a pretty universal rod for me. And then with that 8:1 gear ratio reel, because you're going to be cooking. And then this is where I might be different than you guys. I will have 50-pound braid, but there's times where I will use 15 to 16-pound fluoro too.
Interesting.
For the buzzbait. And the reason is, and I did not learn this, our boy GDP showed me that depending on the bite, if they're just demolishing it, the braid's the way to go. But if they're just taking it, a lot of times we pull the hook out of the fish's mouth. That fluoro will actually give you and soften that hook set to let them eat it a little bit more.
Very interesting.
Yep. How about you, George?
Well, I fish a medium heavy rod also, and the reason I fish a medium heavy rod is because I do fish braid.
Right.
It's either 50 or 65, depending on a lot of times I shift reels from rod to rod, and I frog and punch with 65, and I only use 8-to-1 reels for that. So if I don't have because I don't have a dedicated buzzbait rod, I have the rod I'm describing to you is my Swiss Army knife.
Oh yeah.
And I have like 5 or 6 of them at all times out. So I might switch a reel over if I want to fish this particular rod. But I'm not always braid, but I'm quite often braid. And I like a medium heavy fast. I'm either throwing a 843 Loomis or a 7.2 medium heavy, one of the Shimano families. Now, I will say this, guys. If I get around some big fish, our beloved Chesapeake Bay has got some full-grown ones that live there.
Hammer dogs.
They are. There's a bunch of 5-pounders, and a 5-pound tidal water fish in thick grass is a low percentage catch.
You ain't kidding.
I will go to a heavy, and I actually pick up a frog rod and buzzbait with that.
And that's what's nice about the hook on that buzzbait that you just showed.
Oh, that's good to go.
You're ready for that.
That's good to go.
Oh yeah,
that's good to go.
You're gonna get in that big giant hog and stick them good.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure Mike's going to give a similar answer because, Mike and I fish together so often that we've actually set our boats up with like universal rods that we both like.
Yeah, 7.2 medium heavy, gets a job done for most grass, most buzzbait scenarios, running banks, running rock banks, running trees. That 7.2 medium heavy, fast taper. You don't want a super stiff rod for a lot of fish, a lot of buzzbait fishing, unless you get into the heavy grass. Then you got to go. That's a different thing. That's where you go mondo.
Yeah.
I know guys that go to like 7.6s and longer rods just because they like to make a long cast and they need all that rod to get the fish up on top. And, they try to skitter them across the grass because if a 5-pounder dips its head,
you're done.
Situation's not good.
You're done. They go down, and what happens is the grass gets on the hook and it pushes the fish right off.
Right.
And it just pushes them right off the hook. And
even with braid, you get slack in your line because you get 50 pounds of grass on the braid.
You can't have it. So, but I like that 7 for most of my fishing, that 7.2 medium heavy. You could do a 7-to-1 or an 8-to-1. I don't think it's super critical there, but it's nice to have an 8-to-1. It's easier, but a 7-to-1's fine if you don't have it. But I'm probably most of the time braid. However, Nick, you're right. I mean, I talked to GDP about that, and he was like, yeah, it was sometimes you got to do the fluorocarbon. And I'm like, well, why would you put fluorocarbon on a buzzbait? Because it sinks. It's hard to do. Well, you're fishing a buzzbait fast enough. It's not like a regular top water where it allows that line to dip into the water. And I've tried that and I haven't had a problem with it. And plus there's a lot of things you can do to a buzzbait with fluorocarbon to help it stay up a lot better. I hope we can jump into some of this cool setup stuff here on the bait itself. But God, I love throwing buzzbaits.
Should clarify though, with the fluorocarbon, it's more around hardcover.
Hardcover, right?
Because if you're in grass, you're going to need that.
You need it.
So
you need it.
The fluorocarbon is going to help a lot around the hardcover. So I just want to,
especially on that, Nick, especially on that when they're just coming up and sucking it in, which gets to the whole part of buzzbait fishing, and that's setting the hook.
We love that part.
That's the problem with buzzbait fishing. There is a, and that's with all topwater fishing, but there is a little subtle dip of the rod that gives you the much higher percentage in your hookup, because Not all of them just crash it.
No.
There's a thing where they come up and just sip it in, and you got to dip the rod with your rod tip to drop it into their mouth. Believe it or not, Nick.
You know what's funny about that? We know that,
Yeah,
but it's easier said than done.
it's so hard.
Is.
It's so
It
hard.
is.
It's so hard to do. When you see the splash, you set the hook, and you know, there's a thing called feeling the weight in your hand, and when you're coming across the surface and that thing's just, you know, coming perfect, and you just know you just know it's going to happen, and the anticipation is loaded up, and your rod tip's at the proper angle, which is never straight at the bait and never low to the water. You always want to have a high rod, Nick. That helps you with dropping the rod to set the hook,
Right.
and dropping it in their mouth and giving a little bit of slack for that fish to turn. Then you feel the tightening of the line, and then you can crack them. And then your percentage of hook sets go way up. And it's hard. It's a split second thing, but I've gotten really well at it, you know, with certain topwater fishing that I've been doing. I just got really nerves of steel on it, you know, especially that pop with the popper and letting it kind of go along, and the sip happens on the river for the mayfly hatch. You know, if you set the hook right away, you miss them.
You're done.
Even with all those treble hooks, you're like, what the hell? How can you miss them with all those hooks? Yet, you know, I always have a high rod, so that when I set the hook, I have to kind of do one of these things.
That's a good.
Drop the rod and then snap back at them. And my hookup percentages are a lot better.
Kind of forces yourself.
It forces yourself to drop back and set the hook and give it that split second to turn on it, and really drop the bait into the fish's mouth a lot better. So that's the hard part of topwater fishing. That's the hard part of buzzbait fishing, is that pause. And you have to build in the pause. And it's hard to do with a very level rod. Really hard to do with a level rod. Does that make sense, George?
For me, a buzzbait retrieve starts with a high rod. And as the bait gets closer to the boat, the rod starts to go down till it's, you know, the retrieve is essentially done and you're here.
Yeah.
So I cast. Obviously, the high rod helps to plane it off. And then as you get closer, you're lowering the rod to keep that angle proper on that, because the buzzbait's getting closer to the boat. That angle's changing. And you lower the rod.
But the beauty is, though, George, with that, don't you notice that you get a lot of your bites on the first third of the cast?
Well, I think that's true with almost every topwater lure.
Yeah.
You know, but being the eternal optimist,
Yeah.
I will work that cast back to the boat.
Oh, I do too. But you know what I mean? That the drop back will happen automatically in that first third for sure.
I like I like shaping the retrieve on a buzzbait. You know, you can steer a buzzbait a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really important with a buzzbait to make contact with the cover. Bang a dock piling. You know, hit the brush of a laydown. Hit rock. Hit whatever's in your path. And, you know, that changes that direction a little bit. Changes everything a little bit. A lot of times it triggers a bite. Well, not a lot, but it will trigger a bite. I think that's very, very important. So even with anything else, when you're target fishing, casting accuracy is everything. So you need that setup that you're comfortable with when you're fishing targets, when you're fishing shoreline. You're not just bomb casting this buzzbait.
Right.
You know, more or less when you're in open grass beds, open water, you know, you want to get pretty close to where you're aiming, but it's probably not the worst thing in the world if you're off a little bit. But when you're fishing a dock or a
lay down,
you know, and
Yep.
especially if you're rigged up like this,
undercut banks,
you can skip it.
under overhanging trees.
You know, you can skip this sucker into
Yeah.
shade.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing about buzzbaits, other than the obvious spawn through summer, when you get into that dreaded September, and I think we talk about this every September. We talk about a buzzbait and a plopper in September and early October, when it's still like summer, but the calendar says it's fall,
Yeah.
but it ain't fall. You know, and we talk about the effectiveness of a shade line. You know, and now your fish are scattered, okay? You have wolfpack fish that are on bait, but you have loners that are on, you know, random shade line
Shade
areas.
lines, a stump,
And again,
a tree, you know,
with a
whatever.
toad, we can skip that bait underneath overhangs.
Absolutely.
We can let it roll.
Absolutely.
So, you know, remember the keys here. Remember, you know, when you tune your buzzbait, remember to crimp your rivet. You know, get that thing prepped up, get that contact, rough it up, hang it out the car window.
Yeah.
Let her spin.
There's one more thing I want to talk to you about blades, George, is the wire through the blade and the offset.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a preference on either one?
Well, I will say this.
And why do they have both? I don't know. I know what I like.
I will say this: the offset blade, and this is an interesting buzzbait here. This is a War Eagle buzzbait, has an offset blade. The interesting thing about this buzzbait is it spins opposite the direction of 99% of all buzzbaits. Most buzzbaits spin
clockwise.
This one
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. This is offset. So offset, that's a really good point Mike brought up. The wire does not go through the blade. This buzzbait gives you a wobble and an out of balance.
Yeah, flop.
Flop.
I call it the flop.
That's a good way of putting it.
It slaps the water, Nick, makes a different noise.
Whereas,
it gives you that flop. Plus, it puts a vibration so that your skirt shimmers a lot more.
These traditional blades, it's the first half of the wires on this side and the second half of the blades on this side. So you are getting more contact, more squeal.
Yeah.
But it's the age-old debate.
Yeah.
Which came first?
Yeah, I know. I think
chicken or the egg.
I think the through blade one run a lot truer. I think the through blade one you can tune a lot easier. You know, you'll see the head knockers and the noise ones with a through wire, and I think they're good for the head knocking. You know, but when we're not really worried about the head knocking, I like the flopping blade because it just makes a different noise.
Oh, it's definitely a different noise.
Yeah, and and I think there's definitely times where, I mean, you all know that I like this one here a lot, but that I throw the Booger Man a lot. I throw the War Eagle a lot. I throw the Hog Collar. There's a lot of different, and plus we have other ones in there that we throw. But I just feel like that you need to know the difference between the through and the offset because it's totally different. It's totally different. George said about the stiff wire. I think the stiff wire is important. I think on the offset blades, you don't want the stiffest wire. I think I think the Hog Collar is like a 33 or a 40,000.
Oh, it's definitely bigger than that.
You think that's bigger than that?
Yeah.
But it's real thin.
No, it's probably not.
No,
Hold on.
I think it's a 33,000.
Hold on before you get yourself all crazy with your numbers.
Yeah.
What do you got? Freaking micrometer hands?
Well, no, you said that's other one's a 54, and I'm just looking at that going
51.
Well, yeah, 51. I'm just looking at that going, shit, that's a lot thinner.
Yeah, this is probably.
What's that?
That's a Hog Collar. This is probably.
That's not the normal Hog Collar though.
Well, that's because we changed these blades out because we were on a giant bite on the Potomac and they would only eat the small blade.
Yeah.
You caught a 7-pounder on that thing. I would say this is pretty flexible. This is probably 40 something.
Is that the same size wire? This seems like, maybe it is. But you're right. I mean, that's the thing. So I think you'll notice on the blades, the companies that do the offset blade, the wires are thinner. because they're looking for that flop and that vibration, Nick. I know it makes a heck of a difference at times. And like George is really big on the Booger Man, and he really likes that headbang. And really the old school Booger Man is like something that he
I think I have a new best friend.
Yeah.
I'm like digging this. I haven't even thrown this thing yet.
No, it's really made.
I'm going to throw this for 12 straight hours on Sunday.
You look at all the bitching that we did about Buzzbaits and the problems with Buzzbaits, and look what they did with that. They fixed all the nasty problems that we've had with buzzbait fishing. It's really an awesome rig. Really is. The other thing is length of buzzbaits. You know, you got longer buzzbaits, you got smaller buzzbaits, you got monster buzzbaits like that. I think there's a time and place for the smaller ones with the smaller blades and the bigger ones with the bigger blades, and then the monsters. Look at that one. That's a little finessey kind of one. You know what? In the summertime when things are kind of weird and you want that real subtle little sound and that little who was the guy that won the Potomac River on an 1/8 ounce buzzbait? Made a huge difference. Nobody else was getting the kind of bites he was getting. He was throwing the 1/8 ounce with the little tiny blade on it, and there's a time and place for that. If you're a buzzbait guy, you're probably going to have 1/8 ounce all the way through to half, and you're going to have small blades all the way through the big flopper blades, and you're gonna have toad toters and regular ones, and you're going to have a whole bag full of them like George has.
I love them.
He has a ton of them.
I love them.
And
plus I got them laying all over the boat.
Yeah, they're in boxes and they're laying on the boat and they're all over the place. But
on a jet boat, I got them hanging up on the handlebar where I can get them real quick. Yeah. I love them.
I always say, like, the crankbait guy knows every wobble of every crankbait, and he knows every color of every crankbait, when to throw what. The really good buzzbait guys that I know who will probably throw a buzzbait 4 hours of 5 hours of the day. Literally, just throw them. And they have tons of different buzzbaits. They've tuned them all. Greg De Palma gets a guy to make he won't throw any other buzzbait than the one that his buddy makes, and then he has to tune it properly, and that's his buzzbait. And that's all we have confidence in, but size does matter at times, and sometimes that little 1/8 ounce small little blade is a killer. And George said that I caught my 7-1 on this one, but I didn't. I caught it on a little 1/4 ounce short little Danny Joe Humphreys.
It's a shame. It's a shame what's happened to your mind.
What? I did.
What's literally happened to your mind.
That's what I caught it on. A Danny Joe Humphreys 1/4 ounce. I got the buzzbait somewhere. Yeah. The head's all blowed out on it because I caught like 4,000 fish on it. You
changed the blades on a hog collar.
I know I changed the blades on a hog collar because I was running out of those things, and I had to do that to have a spare.
Before or after the waterfowl hunters lit you up?
I caught the 7-1 the day before the tournament, and then the day of the tournament, the waterfowlers almost shot me, and they were putting wads in my boat, and I didn't even knew they were there.
Boy, I
was so blinded by the giant fish I was catching.
We're running low on time here. We still have to do rig of the week, and then we have the quick little news segment that we like to, the little what's kind of out there different. So this week for rig of the week, we got something interesting. I mean, I think it's revolutionary. Some people are probably already doing this, but here's a prime example. So, let me show you this. So here's an old spinnerbait, and got on a crazy bite, and I had to make a skirt. I needed a little spinnerbait with little blades, and I needed that color skirt, which I made in the boat out of my little skirt kit, and caught fish. Now, eventually, we all know what happens to these skirts when you make them with a band. The band breaks down from the UV, and the skirt, you go to pull the spinnerbait or buzzbait out, it looks like that. There's no skirt. So what I do, and I do this a lot, and I'll show you. There's a skirt that's been on that buzzbait for I don't know how long. See the zip tie?
That band's ready just to shatter off of there too. It's like so bad.
It's tied on. So you got to take your zip tie and you got to get it started.
You want the tiny ones too, the little tiny.
Yeah, this little bitty one here. You get like 400,000 of them for $8. And then what you want to do, what I like to do, once I get it started, I make sure my skirt's exactly where I want it because this is locking it home. You're going to need a side cutter. And I like the lock of the zip tie to be on the inside of the spinnerbait. And you just kind of work that down. Now you can either use your side cutter or your needle nose, but you're going to kind of hold it real loose. You're just pushing down so you can tighten it. Now with a side cutter, can't really do it with this, but I can sort of grab it and twist it, and I'll get a couple extra clicks, right? And then I just cut that off. And that skirt, she ain't going anywhere. You know, you can go through, I mean, the only way you're getting that off of there is to cut it off. And I mean, if you look, I do this to jigs, buzzbaits, spinnerbaits, anything with a skirt. I mean, this band is literally, I mean, it's just
gum.
This band is not even a band.
Yeah, it's like this gummy freaking.
There's the band.
Nothing.
So now when I pick that up, the advantages of this is, my skirts are perfectly orientated before I lock them. And when I pick that thing up, it's going to run perfect. Everything's perfect. I can skip it. I can have fish hitting it, short striking it. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. And it's just a little zip tie. That big. It's 3 3/4 inches long. I buy them in clear and I buy them in black. And I have them everywhere. I have them in glove boxes of boats. I have them in terminal tackle pockets on spinnerbait binders. I got them everywhere. So,
yeah.
Get yourself some zip ties. Get your skirts on your baits exactly the way you want them, and lock them down. Save yourself a bunch of aggravation.
Oh yeah.
Next year, the year after, your skirts aren't going to be rotten and falling off. So that is your rig of the week. That's lock down a skirt with a zip tie.
Rig of the week is brought to you by Nomad Designs, makers of the great Nomad crankbait line and hardbait line and jerk baits and top waters. Great stuff. They're also the makers of one of the finest power finesse jigs out there, which is the Greg De Palma. Nick.
We bit.
We just had major brain farts right there.
We had a major brain fart.
the Wee Bit jig that designed by Greg De Palma, and
Machete.
the Machete swim bait jig, which is the phenomenal swim bait jig. And All available here, sfttackle.com. You click the link below. Check out Nomad Designs. Check out the quality of the product that they make. And if you like and share and comment and use the Nomad Design
Tag them.
a tag,
Yep.
and you do it properly, then
Yep.
you can become a winner. And the winner for this week's rig of the week, which is a $25 gift card to sfttackle.com or Susquehanna Fish and Tackle in the shop here, is Tom Harner. Tom Harner is the rig of the week winner this week, and way to go, buddy. Thanks for joining up, and you guys anybody can win a $25 gift card, and it's legit. And we just had our guy come in last week who won last week. He came in and said, "Oh my God, I heard my name," and he spent his $25 on a beautiful new rod. So he was great to
Good stuff.
It was all good stuff.
Well, I like that. I mean, how long have I been doing that?
Rig of the week.
This
What?
zip tie.
Oh, the zip tie.
Since they invented the zip tie.
No, I think it was like 19.
Well, if you have it down to like the year, then that's pretty impressive.
I think like in 95 or 94 or 95, 96.
I think they invented the zip
Honestly.
tie, and I was like, oh my God.
I'm pretty close.
All right. Now, for our interesting news, I hope nobody tuned out because this is cool. The Skeeter Owners Tournament, Nick, which is always on Lake Fork, Texas. And Lake Fork's a big lake, but it ain't that big. And this is a big tournament. Mike, if I was to give you one guess of how many anglers fished in the Skeeter's Owners Tournament, well, give me your number.
Well, see,
Did you already read up on it?
I didn't read up on it, but I remember last year, I think it was like 650 boats.
Yeah. Well, you're not even close.
Really?
No.
Oh, it was like 650 boats.
874 boats.
God almighty.
1,650 anglers.
Wow.
All in Skeeters.
Wow.
What is that, like 35 flights or what?
Well, what they do is they do a big fish tournament. You don't bring back a limit because on Lake Fork, you can only bring in unders and one over. So like your whole 5-fish limit might weigh like 7 pounds.
Yeah, but what's the over? Like, isn't it a crazy size? Though?
Yeah, it's over 24 inches.
Yeah, it's a crazy
I'm
size.
just having a hard time imagining 800 and some boats fishing. I don't care how big that lake
How
is.
about a shotgun start?
Yeah.
Remember the scene from Jaws where they were going out to get the shark? One guy's in a canoe.
They're yelling at each other.
Shooting
But I
guns.
mean,
Yeah.
imagine no matter where you fish, there's going to be 100
Yeah.
boats there.
Yeah.
So the guy that won it, in first place, I'll tell you what, man, these boat companies, Bass Cat does a hell of an owner's tournament too, but
Yeah.
Skeeter, I think Skeeter takes the cake.
Yeah. They've been doing it the longest.
Yeah. They gave out a FXR Apex 20
Wow.
for big fish.
Golly.
All you had to do is catch the biggest fish. And the guy that won it weighed in an 11.53.
Jeez.
Big
Oh,
fish.
Now,
that's a big one.
they have a big prize for the biggest under.
What's the prize for that?
Well, it's a Yamaha Viking side-by-side, which is like a $20,000 side-by-side
For the biggest under.
for the biggest under.
Golly.
And that was won by a 2.98.
Wow.
That's something.
And then they do a drawing for another Yamaha side-by-side. I mean, Skeeter and Yamaha don't play.
Yeah, they're not playing.
That's not playing.
They also collect toys for tots. It's
Yeah.
called Fill a Boat with Toys.
Yeah.
And they bring a damn
Yacht.
the biggest 25-foot center console that they make.
Fill it.
They do collect canned goods.
Well, that's a great thing.
They need
Yeah.
like tractor trailer
Yeah.
to haul the canned goods
Yeah.
out. I mean, they just do it right.
Yeah.
Skeeter always has done it right. I know Nick's involved with Skeeter.
Yeah.
Mike and I have been involved with Skeeter for 30 years. I mean, the people at Skeeter are the cream of the crop.
That's an awesome news. You know, it's funny because financially or money wise, there's been a lot bigger tournaments as far as payout.
Yeah.
But as far as boats on the water, that has to be.
I fished in a 300 boat tournament on Racetown Lake one time.
Holy
Oh, so did I.
crap.
And I
won it.
It was horrible.
Really?
And it was horrible.
I mean, 300 boats on Racetown is a lot of boats.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's
It's bad.
next level.
Yeah.
So I'm just picturing being sitting in my 21I class with my buddy Mike here, and Nick's parked next to us and waiting for his number to be called.
That's right.
In his
ZXE.
brand new ZXR 250. And me and Mike are like boat 870. And by the time they call our number, we idled all the gas out of our tank.
Might as well, when they call your number at 870, you just drop the trolling motor. at that
Yeah.
point.
Wow. I don't. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, man? I'd be like on the bank eating sandwiches and hanging out, and
You just walk deck to deck.
they
to
probably
deck.
had food trucks there. I'd be up and checking all the food trucks out because it would take roughly 2 hours to launch
Oh,
that many boats.
I love it when you're fishing those really big boat tournaments and like you're in flight 15 and you don't even launch your boat until like 9 flights of launch.
Yeah, you don't
You're
even
just-
go in the water.
They're out fishing and you're just pulling into the ramp.
I remember launching like literally like they've been calling boats for hours up there, or like for an hour up there, and then I launched my boat and parked my truck
Go
and
through boat check.
went through boat check, and I still sat there for 45 minutes.
Well, if your boat
It was bad.
874,
Well,
I think they should give you a prize.
Pretty much.
Like,
yeah.
okay, this guy gets a FXR Apex 20. This guy gets a Viking side by side. The random draw wins a side by side. The guy that is boat 874 from our sister company Yamaha Pianos is going to get a baby grand piano.
Well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the NFL draft, Mr. Irrelevant, their team irrelevant.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they win it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. You know, I read that
Yes.
article and I was really tickled because I think Mike's right. Not that long ago, it was 600 and something boats.
Yeah, I just remembered 650. That's why I went with that.
And you know, it just tickles me to see what they did, and not to mention behind the scenes what they do to help Texas with their
Yeah.
because Texas. I don't know if anybody from the probably nobody from the Pennsylvania Fish Commission is watching this because they don't even do Fish Commission stuff.
Plus, you've
But if they were,
you've insulted them probably 350 times so far.
well, that's their own fault though. But if they accidentally would tune in here at this moment in time, I would just say Texas Parks and Wildlife,
yeah.
and they would probably hang up.
Yeah.
Hey, 874 forward-facing pinging at the fish at one time. They heard everything. Lure after lure just going by them.
Oh my God.
You're on my spot.
All right, boys.
Good stuff, fellas.
Well,
Good stuff.
Thank you, everybody, for stopping by.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. And congratulations to Tom Harner for winning the $25 gift card. And we really love doing this. And we'll see you guys at the next Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down, knowing I am blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, lover. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you.